Hey guys, Jay Hoff here. Welcome to Hawkthorne 101. This is going to walk you through getting the game set up on your machine, getting a GitHub account set up, cloning it for the first time, and getting everything prepared so you can start hacking. This will be focused on OS X. I will be doing a Windows one, so if you're looking for Windows, check that out. So to get started, we're going to head over to the subreddit. You'll notice over here on the right hand side there is a link where it says that the game is hosted on GitHub. Go ahead and click on that. That's going to bring you to the project page. This is where you can find all of the code for the project, as well as open pull requests and issues that people have reported. If you scroll down, this first section here is the file structure for the project. You can go through and browse to get kind of familiar with everything. If you read a little further down, there's a README, and it'll cover everything that you need to know for getting started, including everything that I'm going to talk about today, getting your build up and running and all of that. So if you need a reference, you can head on back over here. The first thing that we're going to do is we need an account with GitHub. So click on Sign Up and Pricing, and GitHub is free. You don't have to pay anything. The only reason you would have to pay for anything is if you were doing private projects, but this is all open source, so click on Create a Free Account, and I'm actually going to do this just to show you how easy it is. So enter your username and your email address, and then choose a password, and you need to make sure that you have a number in there, and that it's at least 7 characters long. Click on Create an Account. And it's really that easy. You don't have to confirm or anything. And you're going to come up with this GitHub bootcamp here. The first thing that we're going to want to do after we create our account is set up Git. So click on that first section there. That's going to open a new tab. And it should auto-select your operating system. If not, make sure you select the right one. And we're going to install Git to begin with. I'm not going to do that here now since I already have it on my machine, but if you don't, pause the video here and go ahead and install it. And then follow the instructions here. It's going to walk you through setting your name, setting your email address. This is all pretty standard, pretty straightforward. Yeah, you'll want to run through these, and it's really simple to do. So once you get set up on your machine, you can close this window, and we're not actually going to want to create a repository. We're going to fork one first. So if we head back over to our project page, I'll refresh this just so you can see what your view is. So now you should see your username up here in the corner, and if you click on the fork button, what this is going to do is basically fork the main project as your own. So that's going to go through a little process here, and once it's done, it should refresh automatically. And so you're going to see up here at the top your username, Hawkthorne Journey, and then it's forked from Kyle's master here. And so as of right now, this is an exact duplicate of the current project in its entirety. And you even get all of the instructions and everything. So with that being said, you have Git on your machine. You have everything set up. We're going to want to grab this URL right here. And just go ahead and copy that. And this is your URL to the repository on GitHub. We're going to want to clone that to your machine. So pull up a terminal window and go ahead and change directory to wherever you want to keep this project. I'm going to put it under a folder called Hawkthorne Test. And then the command that we're going to want to type is git clone, and then you're going to want to paste that URL that you had before in. So that's going to essentially pull the repository down from GitHub. It's going to create a clone of that. All of the work that you do if you're hacking in further sessions, you're going to want to do locally on your machine. You edit the files, you test. Once everything's ready, you would commit, and then you push all those changes back up to your fork on GitHub. Once you have the changes on your fork on GitHub, then you would do a pull request to pull your changes back in. So that's kind of the workflow that we're looking at. Okay, well, this is finishing up. We're going to jump over to the browser again, and we're going to download Love, the Love framework. So go ahead and head over to love2d.org, and there's some installers here in the download section. Click on the one for your operating system, and just walk through that installer. They're pretty straightforward. If you have Windows, you'll want to do the installer, either for 32-bit or 64. OS X will just do zipped. If you're running Linux, highly recommend that you install from here and not from your local package manager, as several of the package managers have a Love version that's way out of date. So if you get it from here, you'll be in good shape. So once you have that installed, let's head back over to our terminal and see how we're doing. Okay, we're almost done here. Okay, so now we should have the game in its entirety here in this directory. Sorry, if you'll want to cd into Hawkthorne Journey, and you should see everything here. Okay, now before we get started, we have to do a few more things. First of all, we need to set up our Love alias. So if you're on OS X, I already have it set up on my machine, but I'll show you how to do it. You type in this command here, and what this is going to do is allow you to just type Love, which will launch the game. And when you launch it with nothing, it just plays the piggy. In our case, we're going to want to type Love src, which is the source directory. And that's all that Love needs in order to run the game. It should launch for us here, and it's going to launch the most recent version of the game. Now, you'll notice that it throws an error right away, and this is expected. We are missing one last piece, and that is the TMX to Lua program, and that can be found out on GitHub as well. So we're going to go ahead and close that, head back, and if we go back to the main project page and then click on Kyle here, he wrote the TMX to Lua app. So if you go down and click on that and then head over to the download section, and you should be able to download the right version for your machine. In this case, we're going to do TMX to Lua OS X. And that's downloading here, so we're going to head back over to our terminal, clear this out, and I'm going to do unzip, actually I'm going to go back a directory, unzip, downloads. You can also double click on this in your Finder window, whatever works for you. But I'm going to unzip this here. There's a dot there. 6. Okay. And it's not a zip file, it's a tar. So we're going to extract that. And so now you have a TMX to Lua program here. To make that easy for us, we're going to copy that to a local bin directory so that we don't have to worry about where it is. So you want to do that with a sudo command, copy TMX to Lua to user local bin, and then we should actually be able to remove TMX to Lua and then run it as a command. And by itself it doesn't do anything. But if we go back into our Hawkthorne journey, the make maps command will go through all of the maps in your folder and it will compile them from TMX to Lua. And that's all facilitated through this TMX to Lua program that we just installed on our machine. So if you do make maps, it should crawl through each one of the levels and process them. Now normally, to make things easier, when I run the game, since I'm changing levels and all that all the time, I'll usually do make maps and then 2 ampersands and then love source, and that basically will build any maps that need to be done and then execute the game. If all of the maps are up to date, then it won't need to do anything, so it doesn't take any extra time or anything. Alright, so this should load the game, and it's going a little bit slow since I'm screencasting right now. So up comes the game, and we should be all set to go. So one other thing that I'm going to cover here is, while debugging, there are a couple of command line options that are really nice. So instead of having to navigate through the game to get to the level that you're testing, there is an option called with a -- level, and you can do any level there. If you're looking for the name of the level, check loader.lua. That'll list out the names. But if we do level equals valley, then once it goes through loading, it should have Abed in the valley of laziness. So we can quickly test and iterate and make changes, and you don't have to waste a bunch of time crawling through the overworld. And then the other thing is if you're testing character-specific things within levels, or if you just like a particular character, you can specify the character flag, and that should load Pierce in the valley instead of Abed. You can't do costumes this way, it's just the base character, but you can see how each character looks in each level. And that's it for today. Hopefully that got you where you needed. Like I said, I'll try and do a Windows one here in the next day or two, but this should get you started. Thanks.